A debate that is raging in the United States and having reverberations across the world is the Washington Post decision not to endorse a presidential candidate after decades of doing so. Jeff Bezos, the founder and owner of Amazon, who also owns the newspaper, decided suddenly, just days ago, that the Post would no longer endorse any of the candidates. Now, that's been a practice that the Post and many other American papers have had in place for nearly a century now. Now, why did Bezos decide to do this? Many believe it has a lot to do with his business interests and the fear that if Trump comes to the White House in particular, that he didn't want to face Donald Trump's retaliation or vengeful nature. And so he, like another proprietor, the owner of the LA Times, who also has huge business interests, both decided it was better to play safe and not to endorse anyone. And both papers, incidentally, were on the verge of endorsing Kamala Harris for president. Now, it's also raised ethical questions about journalism itself. Should journalists, should newspapers, media organizations be taking political sides anywhere in the world? Ideally, no. I've always found this practice of endorsements by US and even UK newspapers a rather strange one, because we grew up believing that journalism was really about sitting on the sidelines, telling the story, letting people make up their minds and not endorsing a particular political point of view. But these are different times. Journalism isn't the same. And you do have a tradition in the US in particular where the editorial boards of newspapers are separate from the newsrooms that actually report on stories. And these editorial boards then decide on endorsements, they decide on opinion pieces, etc. And they're actually separated from the day-to-day functioning of the newsroom. Of course, many people who read these newspapers may not necessarily know about this distinction, which is a gray area. But these are extraordinary times. This election in the US is a make or break one in so many different ways, where lies, misinformation, disinformation, and the very value of American democracy in a sense is at stake. Journalists today are no longer required to stay on the fence. Journalists today need to take a stand. They need to call out the truth. They need to call out lies. They need to call out misinformation and call a spade a spade. And that's why perhaps this move by Jeff Bezos has only spurred more suspicion about mainstream media. The fact that the Washington Post lost more than 250,000 subscribers immediately after this decision was announced has only strengthened that. The nature of journalism has changed, the nature of the media has changed. And it is possible, I believe, in today's world to hold truth to account, to hold truth to power, without compromising on your journalistic integrity.